and the teams on today are Zoolana. Will be our first guest. So let's knuckle into them so we get started. And we welcome from the team Brick and DD80. So these guys have been here a couple of times. They're building out a mobile RTS game similar to Clash of Clans. That's the easiest way to explain it. It's going to be a real-time strategy. There's been plenty of media beforehand and AMAs. Let's welcome Brick to station. Brick is in America, isn't he?
Yes, sir. Yes, about 8 p.m. here where I'm at. Um, yeah, so just to jump in where DD left off. So, yep, building a Clash of Clans style game. Another game that we're taking a lot of influence from is Infinity Kingdom. It's a phenomenal representation of what a 4X strategy game looks like. You collect various heroes, collect resources, train units, upgrade those units over time, pair them with the right hero, and then go to battle to conquer your foes. And one key element of the game that we're building, for anyone not familiar with Zoolana, is the social element and the social mechanic. So that is very similar to Clash of Clans. We're trying to have a really strong clan mechanic in the game where you can not only play um, alongside your friends, whether it's them donating you troops or actively playing uh, actively playing combat together. Some of those decisions are still up in the air about the design of how collaboration is going to happen. But also, you can craft together and kind of take part in the in-game economy together. So one of the things that we're really pushing for and building for specifically in Zulana is the social component. So that's a little bit of background about what we're building and what we hope to get from it. For anyone that is excited about the game, we are too. We're delivering a playable beta for Alpha Edition holders. The Alpha Edition is the name of our NFT collection, and we're delivering that beta by the end of 2022. And the full game we hope to release about midway through 2023. So that's the current timeline as it exists. We've had a really busy past 3 months. Lining up the game studio that we're going with, figuring out all of the legal hurdles that come with working internationally. Like I said, I'm based out of the US, DD's based out of Singapore, and just kind of figuring out uh, what kind of taxes do we owe? What are the legal implications of releasing NFTs? Like all of these are huge questions that don't get talked about enough in the space, and it's been taking up a lot of our time. But we're excited to be moving forward with the project, and yeah, it's going to be a big year for us.
So what's really cool, and welcome to stage, Brick, and of course DD, and I've been, we've spoken a whole lot over time, so I've got some great background knowledge to the project, and this is awesome. You guys had a Alpha Red come out last year, and you had trouble with the mint. It was disappointing to see, and I'm talking to a lot of teams at the moment because there is a lot of it's a bear market. NFTs, there's people tired with minting and stuff like that, and trading of NFTs is dropping down. You guys struggled with your Alpha Red Mint, but you pivoted, you did well. Do you want to talk a little bit about the struggles of the project so far to build out towards and get that player base of people?
Yeah, yes, for sure. Let's talk about that. So, um, if anyone is listening or watching this hoping to start an NFT project, what we have learned is that actually a slow mint can be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
what that means is that the people that actually end up buying the NFT have researched the project, have looked into it, and are excited about what you specifically as a project are bringing to the table. And the floor price is going to reflect that over time, which is not something that we necessarily want to spend too much time focusing on as developers, but it is something that in the space it's hard to deny that floor price is something a lot of people pay attention to. So um, yeah, to anyone hoping to build a project, if you end up suffering from a slow mint on your first time around, what you'll come to find is that the people that do join your project are the ones that are really excited about it and the ones that are really looking to actually participate and uh, kind of get behind you. So for us, that slow alpha red mint was concerning at the time and freaked us out, and we were disappointed. But it's really come to show over the few months that the alpha red holders are the ones that are really invested and the ones that are um, you know sticking by us even when the project is in between launches or in between product hype. So yeah, kind of a blessing in disguise, I would say.
So there's a whole lot behind that, which it's interesting because actually holding that mint open doesn't cost you guys anything, does it?
No, I mean it doesn't for us. And again, if anyone is starting their own project and sees this themselves, what you're going to have is a ton of people in the community who aren't really there for the project. They just want to flip it, and they'll demand, "Hey, you got to close mint ASAP," because what they want to do is get on secondary markets and have the lowest supply possible to be selling the NFT that they minted. So, from a team perspective, that doesn't really benefit you. It just ends up cutting your mint short and lowering the amount of funds that you end up having to move forward. So yeah, no, it doesn't cost us anything to keep the mint open.
And that's really interesting what you're saying, and I completely agree with everything you're saying. People just want to get in and mint this shit and flip it, and it's frustrating as fuck as a traditional gamer. Like when I mint something with a team, I look at the game, I look at the updates. I don't care if it's minting out and it's making a game in 6 or 12 months. You should know that at the start. You should be able to look into the team and do some basic research at the start. Um, so you guys did cut your mint short. And now it was good for you to give this advice to other teams. If you were to do it back again, would you have held your mint open?
So, yeah, let's give some background for everyone listening to the timeline. So we opened up mint around November 11th, and we ended up closing mint around December 29th. And what we ended up implementing was a burn mechanic for the NFTs left in the supply around like the second week of December, maybe like the first week of December. Um, and it kind of influenced this level of scarcity, and we were burning around 300 of these NFTs a day from the remaining supply in the candy machine. So if you were interested in the project, you saw, you know, they could run out any day. If the hype builds up and the NFTs start really selling, gone by tomorrow. And kind of implementing that scarcity mechanic really helped us. So why did we implement that mechanic is a good question. Part of that is because the strategy for our alpha editions was specifically that we would have a mint that was a little more premium and a little more expensive. And then we would also have a mint that was a little more affordable and a little more accessible. And what we started with was the red mint, which was our premium, more expensive mint. And that was the mint that lasted from the 11th through the end of December. And some of the people in our community that only could get in at a lower price point were waiting for the other mint to happen. We're waiting for that second mint, the blue mint, to take place. And we didn't want to run both mints at the same time. So for us, it was a matter of, the red mint's been open. We've put the word out. People know about it. Let's move on to the next stage in the project and make sure the people that are trying to get in for blue have the opportunity to get in for blue. So we wrapped up red by the end of 2021, and then the blue mint happened around the second week of January.
Yes, there was some time sensitive stuff there. So does that answer the question though? Like, do you think you would do it the same again, or would you hold out on your red mint? And obviously there was time sensitive things to roll out afterwards, but
Would we do it the same again? Um, Honestly, I think so. I think maybe we could have implemented this like scarcity mechanic earlier with the red mint. Um, I think if we were to do it again, maybe that's what I would say is like the week of the red mint, maybe we would should have implemented the scarcity mechanic of burning every day until the candy machine was empty. It was a learning experience for Didi and I, and we had to think on our feet, and we came to that answer, um, like that first week or second week of December. But if I had to do it again, I would probably have implemented that earlier. Besides that, I think overall it worked out okay. I don't know what Didi thinks, but
Uh, I'm definitely on the same page, especially since, I think we are the first project back then in the space that had so much support from the community from not minting out. Like the rest that didn't mint out, they like all there were was FUD because we were kind of tracking how the Solana space mint is going on, and there were a ton of projects that were not minting out. And
yeah,
when we visited their Discord, it's all FUD from their community. Yet for us, we've had an overwhelming amount of support from our community and ideas that came in from them. And we really appreciate it. every single one of them who took the time to give ideas to us. And moving forward from there, I think definitely we would do the same thing again. But like Brick said, we would definitely implement the burning mechanism
Yeah, I still,
much
and
earlier.
this is funny. I still disagree with the burning mechanism, but I love the fact that you guys are prepared to talk about and actually break it down as to why you did it. To me, I think that there's a lost chance of people potentially joining in and having the success chance to be able to buy that Alpha Red. I don't care about the selling it later on down the track. So I've shown some screens, both in my YouTube as well as here. You know, like you guys since have done really well with the Blue Mint. You did that as a completely a completely whitelisted mint. That was a full 4,000, was it as well for the blue?
Uh, yeah, if I'm not wrong, it's 4,000.
It's funny. I've
It's
just because all
it's
these numbers are
5,000.
only. Oh, there you go, 5,000. So it was 4 to 5. So that was good. I liked that because you were talking about potentially making it the same as red or less. And I really love that you went higher because it gives a chance at more bums in seats, isn't it? That's one of my sayings. You want more bums in seats. You want more players.
Um, I would agree to disagree. I feel like that there was a whole debate going on between me and Brick back then on what kind of supply are we looking for Alpha Blue, because there's there's the there's the impression from the community that it should be of a higher number, but yet internally our discussions were, what if we don't mint out again? Like, how does the optics look like then? That there was a whole lot of struggling going on back then, and we had to scramble to put a strategy together to make sure that we actually mint out our Alpha Blue, and thank God the strategy worked out.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're going with that, and you're right. It's about optics in the community, and because you didn't mint out on your first one, yeah, I can see that. It's funny because we saw and we've talked about it before. There was other projects like Project Loon, for example. They weren't doing a rarity mint flip rotation, and they also had a very hard time minting and didn't mint out theirs. They did a different strategy with how they kept their NFTs and vaulted them. But that's cool, man. So with the Alpha Blue, you guys, that was around before Christmas, wasn't it? Alpha Blue was minted and done before Christmas. Is that right? Have I got
No, that
January?
was in 2022. That was in 2022 after Christmas, after
Oh,
New Year's.
yeah. So that's done. Now I've got my profile pics. I just showed those up. You guys did a successful drop for the profile pics. Um, do what do these profile pics actually do for the game?
These profile pics, actually, you can use them as your in-game. What's that icon? That social icon that you can use.
Your
You can use it
PFP,
for
your
Twitter.
avatar.
Yeah, yeah, it's basically your PFP for anything. That's its utility.
I like it. So I know there was also a comic drop previous to this one. This was previous to the Alpha Blue, wasn't it? The comic drops were for the Alpha Reds, weren't they?
Yeah, the first one was our Law NFT airdrop, our very first Law NFT, which is we will have more coming. We already have a few in the pipeline that we're doing, and we just want okay. So the reason why we actually do this drop is to let people, understand the world of Zoolana, and help themselves immerse into the world of Zoolana by understanding the stories behind Zoolana. So that's the point of all the Law NFT drop, and there'll be more to come.
And this is one of the beautiful things of being Solana is that it's cheap for you guys to hand out these. Obviously, there's artists. You've got to pay for the artist fees and stuff like that. But what would is there a figure that you guys can put on something like a profile picture? What would that cost you guys to do that whole process?
Well, I can tell you with transparency, if Brick don't mind. I think we spent about 15 15K, was it? A little bit more than that, about 17K.
And is that the Solana required to do the mints and the transaction fees, and then to get it all listed on Magic Eden, or is that including your artist fees as well? Because you guys have got some pretty cool artist team working for you.
Yeah. I think a bulk of the expenses actually came from generating the assets and minting them before airdropping them out. Because minting them, you have to pay a fee. It's 0.01 Solana, and when you have a collection of that size, it actually adds up to the expenses.
It actually, it actually was quite a bit more than that, because what happened was, we had hired one artist to do all of the work, and the profile pictures were done. There's a lot of tweaking that goes into fixing the size of the assets to the characters. You're like literally weeks of tweaking of the accessories, but all of the base art assets were done by like the second week of January. And what happened was we were starting to release them. Everyone in the community actually saw, because we released the initial monkey variant. Um, and the quality of the characters just wasn't up to our standard. So we recognized that our profile pictures were going to be a permanent element of the project, and we're going to represent our community for literally like years to come. So what we did is then we took we took the accessories that our original artist had done, and we brought the accessories back to Polar Engine, the professional
Yep.
game studio that's done art for Magic the Gathering, League of Legends, Dungeons and Dragons, all these other phenomenal IPs, and we had them redo the character models. So what you're seeing here, this bear base model, this elephant base model, the monkey base model, all of these were done by Polar Engine. So this is like a League of Legends level of art. And then the accessories were done by another concept artist who does great work for settings and for objects, but his work on the characters, we just felt we could up the bar a little bit. So
Yeah, and I mean they generally look good. You guys had a rarity to them. Just looking at the marketplace, they don't seem to have traded well. But does that mean people just aren't listing them, or total listed 430? What was the total count for them then? Because
8,153.
so what's that? 0.5% that's listed? Is that right?
It's like around 5% listed, which is actually quite good. Um, there isn't a ton of trading going on with them, we think, because for us, we focus the majority of our NFT utility in the alpha
Yeah.
editions themselves. So I think the profile picture, the space is really full of people trying to speculate on price, and if they see a profile picture that's just a representation for the community, maybe they don't value it as much as if they see some other NFT that gives you in-game utility or token access
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
access
yeah.
to future mints or what have you.
I like
Yeah,
that.
I think one thing to take note is that the crowd in Solana NFT spaces is very different from the crowd at ETH NFT space. Like one thing that I've realized with Solana NFT space, the crowd over here is that they expect everything to have a utility.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And why can't some things just be art?
Yeah, you're touching on a lot of truths there as well. Same as your comic strip that you did was more about teaching people about the game lore, rather than worrying about being something that has a rarity, can be traded, might add something to your extra avatar in game. It's good. That's good. So let's talk. Let's talk future. What's happening up? We are now in March, coming into April. We know that it's going to be 2023 before we get a game, but what happens over the next few months for Zoolana? Because it's been ages since I've had you guys on stage, so I've kind of lost track of that. What are we looking at over the next few months?
Yeah, so we've got our IDO coming up pretty soon here, and we have more information on that coming out this week. Besides that, like talking about game development specifically, the team is ramping up in game development, and we're gonna hopefully have some stuff to share with you guys over the next like month or 2 months. So we're really looking forward to actually getting progress updates for the game out to people. Um, it's really like it's really amazing trying to do a project on a global scale. Like we have developers from Australia. Our graphics guy is in the United Kingdom. Of course, I'm in the US. DD's in Singapore. And the game studios that we've been looking at and talking to are really worldwide. So actually, part of what's happened for this timeline of the past 3 months is that we were in a conversation with the game studio in Ukraine for like 3 weeks, maybe more than that. I mean, since our initial conversation, it was like a month and a half. And we had a number of meetings with them. We were going through contract negotiations, all of the terms. We had it nailed down, and I think it was the day after we received the contract, right before Didi and I were to sign it. There was, of course, the invasion in Ukraine, and it's it's like kind of insane to even put the worries of our project, just this mobile game, into the context of like what the people of Ukraine are going through. And of course there's like it's it's incredibly tragic, but it's just one of those things that when you're doing business on a global scale, like you need to think about this stuff. And um we're excited to be getting into game development now and moving forward for a productive year. But for anyone that's been a fan of the project and watching our progress, just understand we lost some time to that, and we're moving forward stronger. So yeah, things to look forward to. Game progress updates coming imminently. More news about the IDO coming imminently. More news about uh, the perks of having an Alpha Edition NFT coming imminently. All this stuff is right around the corner. Kind of a convergence of announcements is happening here, and there's going to be a lot of info coming out soon.
And touching on the IDO, because this is one of the big utilities out of the red, the blue coin. How is the team approaching the IDO at the moment? Because obviously the announcements for it back in December, it was a very positive feeling at Game Tokens at the time. Have you realised, or not? Have you realised you would be monitoring that the Game Tokens have all dumped as well with the world events and Bitcoin and Solana going down. So are you a little bit worried about the token at the moment, or you're happy with your tokenomics and the model?
Um, we like the model as we have it now, but there is, of course, like the context surrounding the IDO to be thinking about. So, um, yeah, for us, it's really important that we make sure our priorities are in order, I guess we can say, and that everything happens at the right time. So, like I was saying before, we've spent a lot of time over the past like 2 months figuring out the legal structure that we need to make this happen in the right way, and like the legal structure necessary for investors to come on board legally and in a way that's safe for them and safe for us. And I'm telling anyone that's listening to this, interested in starting a project, one, reach out to us and we'd love to tell you what we've learned. And two, it is extremely complicated. Like, especially when you get into tax implications of doing this stuff over borders. Um, this is not easy stuff, and a lot of it you're going to be figuring out literally for the first time, like out of anyone on Earth, pretty much, because
Yeah.
every project has unique requirements and every project is a little different. So, um, the token model, as we came up with it back in December, seemed to be working for us. But stuff about like the corporate structure and how to get funds involved and how to attract investors. All that stuff is a learning experience, and of course, there might be some stuff up in the air as we move forward with the IDO.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I'm glad you're very frank about it. Like, decentralized gaming means a lot to me, and being able to have honest and open and transparent devs is super important part of it. So it's going to be interesting to watch. I know there's a lot of game tokens at the moment that are hurting. Like we look at Star Atlas did 100 times, DeFi Land did 40 to 80 times, Cryo War, Genopets. There was so many that did super well, and they all dived down at the end of December and January. And we've had world problems since, and some are struggling because at the moment a lot of these games and tokens don't have a utility. You're kind of trading on them, and you're more speculating on that they're going to be good. So it'll be super interesting to watch how your IDO goes. And like my opinion to people would be, don't stress about aping into the token, but also don't stress about trying to flog it off cheap and early as well. Like, think about it, have a proper look at the tokenomics. It's been a while since I've looked at the white paper for the tokenomics. I'll be interested to double check and even maybe do an updated video. And since December when that came out as well, I've learned a lot more in the space, and my understanding is the games have changed. So everything changes. Like Brick is saying, the games are walking new ground here. Axie had such a smashing entry, and they've struggled with the price of SLP. So all of these games going forward have a lot of previous people that have walked in the space, but they still are breaking new ground. Entry into the game at the moment, Brick, is super cheap. So if people want to pick up these alpha blues and stuff, what can they expect? Obviously, no token snapshots. All the tokens are done. But is there a recommendation from the team to possibly look at the alpha blues or look at the alpha reds? I know that the alpha reds are under mint cost, and there was so much utility to owning a blue or a red. Did you guys want to talk about people considering getting into a game now that might be 6 to 9 months away from being built out?
I think I we have a huge announcement coming up that we're not gonna share in this space right here. But all I can tell you is that it's kind of a positive news that people should check out. It's related to our alpha editions, and I guess just keep a lookout. Another point is that you don't have to own the NFTs
Yep.
in order to play the game. It's all just a whole lot of perks. It's like a VIP pass that, well, if you're a gamer, then it's like a season pass. We could put it that way.
Jeff is egging you on here, DD. He's saying just share it. He wants to know, Jeff.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it inside our VIP room, but we're not gonna share it. We're not gonna share it. Just keep a lookout. Oh, and if you're gonna do a video on our white paper, just wait for a few moments. Hit us up before you do because we're updating the white paper again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've kept all of mine. And just for people out there, it is going to be a free to play game. You don't need to own these NFTs to play the game. But 0.22 for an alpha blue, you're looking at $8 or $10 to take a chance on a game. This is where it's very interesting now is you're not minting out, you're not having to spend a high heap of entry point. Some of these games that have been building for 6+ months, you can have a look on the marketplace, do your own research as always, but you're not minting at high cost. Solana's very low at the moment in comparison to where it has been. It's 1/3 of its all-time high. So it's not a lot of risk to get in and get a blue, but just buying that NFT off what a random dude on the internet says, you need to have a bit more of an understanding and what is that blue going to do for you in the game, what future drops, all those kinds of things. But I'm definitely keen to see how the IDO does. And the tokens and all of these kinds of things. And I keep relative with different games and stuff still. So definitely keen to get you guys back again, see what these updates are. Yeah, I guess any closing thoughts? Actually, let's go to the crowd. Have we got anyone in the crowd for questions? I've got nothing on YouTube at the moment. And there's been a few people chatting and saying hello in the crowd. Any questions at all from the crowd? Half an hour is a hard space to manage. We'll go. Porter's typing away, but Brick, I'll go with you first. Brick, have you got anything extra you want to talk about? That obviously half an hour space is hard to cover everything, but have you got anything you want to talk about quickly?
Yeah, I guess anyone who really likes the story for Zoolana, I think, should be excited about what we have coming up. We have a few different things coming up for content, as they relate to lore, and that really, I have a degree in fiction writing. This is like really one of the things that I'm most excited about as far as what we're building is Zoolana has kind of been designed to be a host for stories, and we're hoping to really kind of start to show that and to really start to explore that a little more in depth. So, that's what I'm really excited about. We didn't get a chance to talk about that much already, but it's yeah, it's I think one of the more exciting potentials of what we're building here.
You started very early in the law writing contest, and you had some great entries. I think there was almost 30 entries in your first one. You've since done a secondary law writing contest as well, haven't you?
Yeah, we have, and actually, we even did a third, and the third just didn't get as much attention as we would have liked. So we didn't make it. We weren't making the stories themselves public, but we have kind of found a design to get the community participating in, like building the world of Zoolana with us without having the burden of writing like a whole short story because everyone has jobs, everyone has time, everyone has little time in the day to dedicate to like their favorite NFT project, and we want to give people a chance to participate without having to write like 750 words. So Yeah, that community participation aspect is still around, and we're going to be announcing some stuff for that pretty soon.
Yeah, I like it, man. The crowd participation, people being able to do fan fiction, even artwork, draw, add towards, especially when you can find a game type and then a actual lore. You know, it's three tribes. They were mutated. They used to fight in the arena series by the humans, and then eventually they uprised against the humans and killed them all. Not killed them all. There's obviously storyline continued to come along. Some humans got away. DD80. Any closing thoughts from you, sir?
Yeah, not too much. Just stay tuned over the next week as we are punching out all the announcements. It's gonna be a pretty heavy week ahead of us. We've been working really, really hard. As Brick said, dude, I cannot start to tell you how much of a headache the legal and tax troubles are. It's so 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 complicated, and this is coming from a finance background.
Yeah, and it's interesting seeing teams like Crypto Straps brought in a lawyer as part of their initial structure. Having a crypto lawyer on board for potential usages and a payment system from taking on their token, their ammo token. So obviously you guys are struggling with a lot of that, and not struggling, having to work through it, isn't it? It's just extra work to do for the project.
Yeah, it's a process. We've had multiple lawyers, multiple tax accountants that we're in touch with, and we're moving forward. We're definitely moving forward. We're making progress.
I love it. I did have a question here from Vahid. Can we expect a glimpse into the game before the IDO? I mean, the game's still under production, so is maybe a cinematic trailer, maybe. I'm not sure.
That's definitely in the plan. There will be glimpse into the game before the IDO, of course.
Perfect. I like that. And then also, are there any more incentives for alphas to keep their market alive? That's not a bad question. I like it. So, are there any more incentives to to potentially kick the market? This would be something you're talking about in the next week. There's some big news coming.
Yeah, just keep a lookout for the news. It's related to that, so I'm not gonna share too much about it. One thing to take note as well, you know, a lot of people don't know this, but you can actually stake our NFT after the IDO. So it's always gonna be keeping our alphas alive.
You also did mention as well, though, that you mentioned you've been talking in the alpha chat in Zoolana. So this is very good. I actually like some of these things. Like they're talking to their community first and foremost in the community Discord. So if you have an alpha and you can go and verify and be a part of those chats, you don't necessarily have to get it all at Grape with Barndog. When I find these bits of information out, usually I'll put them on my update videos. But yeah, staking after the IDO, very nice. And that's staking your NFTs, is it?
Yeah, one thing I want to add on to that is, if you have any questions or anything, just hop into our Discord. Just tag us because we might not see them, because we're not always checking our Discord. But if you tag us, anybody in our Discord would know we'll always reply to you when we have the chance to. That's what we do over there.
Yeah, I mean, you've also got a great team behind you as well of people like Z Coping is in the stage at the moment. I know Jeff's a regular as well, another Aussie. Go the Aussies. And is he would be surely some kind of moderator in Discord by now, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he's our mod. Jeff is our mod.
Yep, yep. I love it. Well done, Jeff. Where were you, Jeff? Was it Melbourne? Just waiting for a chat here. Newies, Newcastle. All right. Yeah, well, we were going to get a live event down in Sydney at one stage. I'll do something in Sydney this year, dude. We'll catch up for a beer. Definitely stay in touch.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this is good. I like this. It's been ages since we touched base, and I like to see teams that we've put faith in and researched last year. I like to see them still just plugging away and building, and don't expect shit straight away from going out to the community. Games take time to build. You've got to invest in these teams, and then they've got to go and build, right? It's cool to see extra artwork coming along. The profile pics were a good drop. I like the comic. I thought that was a great drop when it was. And it's really cool to see. We know that the IDO is coming. It was April, May, maybe. So yeah, very much. Thank you guys for coming on stage, and we'll keep in touch.
Thanks, Bon. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Thank you, Barnard.